Hey there. Welcome in, everybody. It's time for, well, you say it, I say it, everyone says it. It's time for Three Guys Before the Game. Episode 447. Title, Walking with Wildcats. Ooh, that sounds scary. West Virginia, Kansas State regular season finale inside the Coliseum on Saturday afternoon. We're going to break it down with you right now. It's been a long time. It was the first league game of the season for West Virginia, and it will be its last regular season game. When West Virginia played at K-State on New Year's Eve, I'll tell you how long ago this was. It was the day of their football bowl game. They were in the Sugar Bowl, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they were in the Sugar Bowl that day.
It does feel like it was
A long time ago, right? It
Yeah.
seems like a year ago.
It's odd. First conference game, last conference game.
Yeah, and that's what it should be. You should do everything in like one should
Reverse order?
Reverse order. Do that. Never happened. I'm just saying. Three Guys Before the Game is brought to us by the Burdett Camping Center, the only warranty forever RV dealer in all of West Virginia. Visit them at burdettcamping.com, and oh, do they have a deal? Remember the old days here on Three Guys when Burdett was one of the founding fathers of sponsorship on this program, and we sold that Madden Cruiser, that big.
Yeah, that Tiffin.
Yeah, that's right.
There was a Tiffin involvement there.
Very good. I think it was. Yeah, it was a Tiffin. Well, we got a little something here for you, though, folks. How about this? You know, there's the big Tiffins, right? There's the big Tiffins, and then there are, trailers and fifth wheels. Right?
Fifth wheel, very popular.
Very popular. Very popular in West Virginia, the fifth wheel, right? We got a deal on one. How about this bad boy? And tell me you don't want it. Forest River, Rockwood, ultralight, fifth wheel. 39-inch booth dinette. Perfect.
Okay, good.
Have a nice meal.
Yeah.
Got a wardrobe slide, got a hide-a-bed sofa, got a ceiling fan, pass-through storage. That outside camp kitchen got a 20-foot power awning. 20-foot power on 11 cubic foot refrigerator. Got a lot of stuff. Walkable roof, of course. So if you're in the market, fifth wheel of all fifth wheels. Oh, by the way, did I say this? $10,000 off.
Oh, you buried the lead.
$10,000 off on a Forest River Rockwood ultralight fifth wheel.
Now, hold on. Because Phil at Burdett's been awesome throughout the year. Great promotions, give you discounts. You go in, these three things happen. Get big. This is you just go in. It's just on sale. Go get it.
Like Eric Stevenson doesn't have to bounce the ball off of his head into the rim. No, he doesn't have
hit
to
four threes and have two dunks and get one technical. You just go in and say, I want that three guy special, and it's
correct.
What is it? $10K?
$10,000 off the Forest River Rockwood ultralight fifth wheel. So if you or someone that you know is in that market, why would you go anywhere else? Because you know what? Warranty lasts forever.
So you get $10K off and a warranty forever.
That would be a correct
Why
statement.
possibly would you look anywhere else?
Only if you were not really at a high level of
Did you say it has a power awning on it too?
20 foot. Put that baby.
Oh, that is nice. You're not trying to pull that thing out. You just hit it and then.
Three Guys also brought to us by Comax Business Systems, keeping West Virginia's business data safe, secure, and efficient for 25 years. And, of course, by Gomart. If you're not a Gomart Rewards card member, you need to sign it up. Save on your gas, your favorite snacks. Go to Gomart.com, rewards for more details. I might hit one tomorrow. Got to get some fuel going up to Wheeling for the Mountain East Conference tournament.
Yeah, you can get one.
Might stop there.
Speaking of going to Wheeling real quick, and I know this is minor in the grand scheme of menu items that Comax offers, almost like the Cheesecake Factory, right? They've got a million different things they can do for you.
A big menu.
I used my Comax printer today, by the way. Mm-hmm. Speaking of going up to the games tomorrow, I had to get charts printed. That thing is smooth, man.
Well, yeah, it's the Mercedes of printers.
I mean, I didn't have to yell at it. I didn't have to throw it. I didn't have to bang on it. I just turned it on, hit print, setting, go. Just smooth. Came right out. Everything was perfect. Color was perfect. It was not splotchy.
You didn't have to pull.
You know why that's a big deal? I mean, I'm 50 plus years old. Not sure I've ever had that before without having to scream at my printer.
A smooth situation.
Super smooth.
So you didn't have to pull a Hugs at any point during the game where you just throw out your hands to your side and go like to the printer like,
Did not.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Three guys also brought to us by Lou Wendell Marine Sales in St. Albans. They do sell family fun. Visit LouWendellMarineSales.com. That's LouWendellMarineSales.com.
We'll have to ask Kirchhoff when he gets back. I still contend somebody had one of their pontoons out yesterday. It was so nice.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I guarantee someone was out on the Kanawha River with one.
There's no question. They're out there. Lou Wendell Marine Sales in St. Albans. They sell family fun. Visit them. Got those Avalon pontoon boats, considered the best in the market. 100% manufactured here in the U.S. of A. And at it. Lou Wendell recognizes the state of West Virginia's experts in pontoon boating, biggest dealer in the state. Because this is a big boy podcast. We don't do small boy stuff. Create beers. Start businesses. Help economies.
Merchandise.
Help old ladies across the street.
You got a nice piece of merch on today.
Yeah, I do. Which one is this? Oh, this is the Millar. This is the Millar collection. All right. So let's jump on in here. Well, let's face it. Let's put some things into context here. 3 or 4 weeks ago. Let's say 4 weeks ago. We could do the ESPN version of this. What if I told you? What if I told you 4 weeks ago that West Virginia would go into its final game of the regular season with an opportunity to clinch a spot in the NCAA tournament? I'd like to go back 4 weeks from, where were we 4 weeks ago today? I might have to effort that and see exactly where our record was and what we were going through at that point. But that would probably be a, no, doubt it, right? You thought at this point we could be playing out the string, playing friendlies at this point.
I don't know. This is very West Virginia fan-esque to have to be hanging on the final game of the season to lock something up, right? Doesn't this feel it feels exactly like where it always lands.
It's so West Virginia.
Right? You can't be comfortably in. You can't be all set. You got to come down to this last game, not quite sure. Numbers look good. Are you going to get screwed? Are you going to have to come back in on the Monday after Selection Sunday, say how'd that happen?
Yes, it's
and I'll
always...
have 3 stats for you about how highly ranked West Virginia is and they didn't get it. It always seems that way, doesn't it?
Yes, it makes me... I'm just telling you what, I still have post-basketball stress syndrome, called PBSS, post-basketball stress syndrome.
From those Big East days?
No, from the Oklahoma State game.
Oh, yeah.
When Hugs went for 900 wins, final home game of the season, everything is set, had that 275-pound cake.
Well, yeah, and they were carrying it through the back hallway, right? Remember? Yeah. And Oklahoma State came out and just tripped them. Yes. Tripped the people with the cake. Cake fell, splattered all over.
Yes.
It's in essence what happened.
Yeah.
It might be a metaphor more than real life, but.
Correct. So I must admit that I have trepidation going into this one. But at the same time, the positives of it are that you're at home. You know what's on the line. You would think, right? You would think you're going to ball it out. We'll see. By the way, a month ago at this time, it would have been after the TCU loss at TCU 76-72. And since then, you have won 4 and you have lost 4 in the last month. So 4-4, so take 4 away. You were 13-9 at that point. And things were getting a little bit worrisome because you would also take, so that means that you were 2-7 in the league at that point. Probably not looking good a month ago.
No, but if you remember the conversation, I mean, basically the whole time we've gone through this season, what do we keep saying? Get yourself to 500 in the league and you're in. Right? That's kind of been the pitch. So each step along the way, we kept trying to say, get back in. And then it adjusted down when it became obvious you couldn't get to 500. Then those computer numbers and the net numbers continued to stay up. So it's probably not far off. You're 500 in the league since then.
Yeah. But at 2-7, things weren't feeling
really good. You needed to get some wins.
Yeah. All right. So back on New Year's Eve, West Virginia played at Kansas State. It was the opening game in league play. And in overtime, West Virginia lost 82-76. to 76. 82-76. In that contest, as the Mountaineers and the Wildcats balled out, a couple of stats that we've talked about a ton during the season. West Virginia missed 18 foul shots. 18 foul shots. They went 20 of 38, which put them at 52.6% for the game.
And you can just stop. That was the game.
Yeah.
That was the game right there.
Crazy enough, Mo Wagee took the most foul shots, which hasn't happened again in a game this season. But poor Mo went 4 of 10 from the free throw line, 3 of 4 from the field. He had 10 rebounds, but just was not making foul shots. Jimmy Bell went 2 of 8. He's much improved, but your two centers went a combined 6 of 18, 33%.
Mm-hmm.
Ding, did a ding, 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 ding. Everyone else shot him well. Trey Mitchell, 4 of 4. Emmett Matthews, 2 of 2. Kedrian Johnson, 6 of 8. Coach Stevenson, 1 of 2. Joe Toussaint was 0 of 2. But anyway, you get the point. Turnovers, though.
Go there, because that's another one.
Holy smokes. 20 turnovers. 20 turnovers, of which K-State scored 22 of its points.
There's your game. Free throws, turnovers.
Done.
Okay, thanks. Go to texts. There's my preview. Go to the texts. Thanks for listening.
You know what, though? We've helped the listeners out there a lot.
Why?
Because coming out of the last game, you use the percentile that they can follow during a game to tell you if West Virginia is trending toward a victory. And that was, if I'm not mistaken, 23% of West Virginia's points need to come from the foul line in a game.
Yeah, which is on their average. So that's kind of the baseline. You get above that, you're feeling good.
Okay. So during the game Saturday, if the world champion Mountaineers are trending at above 23%, 25, 26%, say, of their points are coming from the foul line, you're doing well. If all of a sudden you're looking at it and like 10% of West Virginia's points have come from the foul line, no good. No good. So you can trend and follow during the course of the game.
Okay.
Now, the other night
at
Iowa State, the free throws didn't get to where they needed to be until the final 4 minutes of the game.
Yeah, a little bit sooner in that second half. You could see it trending in that direction, but first half it definitely wasn't. The other number to watch. Well, let's just do the keys now because that'll make sense. I'll give you the numbers. Let's get into the keys.
So you're saying you want to start your numbers?
Let's go.
Well, bad preparation on my point because this is not good. I mean, I should have that thing right in front of me.
You don't have the walk-up music?
Operator error. Now David Saab, who produced this song for us, he's got to be sitting there going like, yeah, big boy, you're talking smack about me not turning the song out fast enough, and then after I turn it out for you, you don't even use it. So
which would be a fair point by him.
It's a totally fair point. I mean, I'll stand up to that.
If he were hypothetically saying that.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what. You go ahead and start your numbers. I might have to do it as a middle. Go ahead. Spreads on stats. What'd you say? Corrugated numbers. Spreads on stats.
All right, you ready? Off to a flying start.
What was the word that you got all bummed out about what they used? It was something. Corrupted?
No. It wasn't correlated.
Confusing?
Something that meant confusing, but it wasn't confusing.
All right, fine, whatever. I'll find it. Go ahead.
All right, here we go. Free throws. Kansas State puts teams on the line,
Oh,
Tony.
That's good.
They put teams on the line.
Oh, that's good.
200.
Oh, that's real good. You know what else is good, Brad? Hey.
We'll just go right to the numbers. Here comes a heater.
Let's jump into the analytics portion of the show.
Ready? 5, 4, 3, 2.
Spreads on Stats is brought to us by the certified public accountants in the state of West Virginia. They're listening right now across the state in their little cubicles and offices saying, oh my God, do you know tax day's coming in April?
Over, under.
I must admit, I'm stunned by how many accountants listen. I got a lot of feedback.
Well, yeah, you should have. You just ripped the whole profession. It's kind of like you did insurance agents first. They came out and hammered you. Do this, you get a bunch of CPAs came at you.
Number is set.
Yeah.
We're on a mission.
Man, I got another. We'll get into that in text. I got another situation with a relationship.
Are for real.
You got to fix another one?
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
Do it.
Start over. Kansas State puts teams on the line, which is good. You like playing these teams if you're
Great.
West Virginia. You just illustrated. What did West Virginia shoot? 38 free throws the first time around?
Yes.
And you just shoot. So imagine if you're shooting 80% in that game as you have in multiple games here in the back half of the season. That thing's not close.
Shoot
right?
75 and you're walking.
Ball game. So can that happen again? Kansas State is 295th out of 363 teams in opponent free throw rate. So they're going to foul you. They're going to put you on the line. Here is the one thing to keep in mind, though. You might not get to 38. That was the highest free throw rate against Kansas State all year. So that was a little bit of an outlier, but you're still going to get a bunch of free throws. They've got to come through and make shots. But, okay, here it is. Here's that key second point to this particular stat. West Virginia fouls a lot as well, remember? West Virginia's in the bottom 30 teams in the country and putting teams on the free throw line. And guess who else gets itself to the free throw line a lot?
Oh, boy.
Kansas
Marquise
State.
Noel and Keontae Johnson get to the line.
34th nationally
it's
in
not
getting
good.
to the free throw line. So this is going to be a battle of not only can West Virginia get there and make its free throws, but what is the number advantage you get in that game? It's similar to what we talked about with Iowa State. It's just Iowa State's team doesn't get there all that often. So that's the first one to watch. Watch the percentage of points for West Virginia that are coming from the line, and then watch the difference in who has more points, meaning which team has more points from the free throw line. If West Virginia is winning in that category, that's very good. You like West Virginia's chances. Then you move on to number 2. You already mentioned the turnovers. That's an important second key here, and it goes both ways. West Virginia is going to have to force some Kansas State turnovers. They are bottom 100 teams nationally in turnover percentage. So if you use, the database that I have has 4 million different stats in there. But one easy way to get a snapshot of a team, it's red versus green. Green's good, red's bad. So you look at Kansas State's profile, there isn't a whole lot of red on there. They're green in almost every category, which makes sense given the year they're having. But that turnover number's red. That jumps out at you right away. West Virginia can get some turnovers from Kansas State, so they're going to need to do that and convert those into points while not turning it over themselves. You mentioned that turnover number against Kansas State, in the first meeting. Well, that was the highest turnover rate of any Big 12 Kansas State opponent all season so far. So you had a couple really big outliers there. They created more turnovers than they have against any other opponent they've played, and they put you on the line more than any other opponent they've played when it came to free throw rate. So which of those happened? You may not get as many free throws. You probably shouldn't have as many turnovers either, so that would bode well for West Virginia. But which team wins the turnover battle, and then who's converting points off those turnovers? Watch those stats on Saturday. That'll go a long way. And one other final little niche stat here for you. Kansas State's going to try and get to the rim on you. Right, they got some big guys. We were talking about before the show started, Tony. They had a fast break last night that was just unbelievable. Noel leading the break, dishing behind for a slam dunk. So you've got to get back, stop them in transition, and keep them off the rim. Now, given West Virginia's injuries inside, this could be a challenge. K-State's in the 94th percentile nationally in field goal attempts at the rim. So they're not going to take many paint shots or mid-range shots. They're going to try and get to the basket on you and get to the free throw line. So those are the two things to watch.
All right. They're 4-6 in true road games. And in league play, let me tell you what they have done so far in league play. Very early in the conference season, back on the day, it was the game after West Virginia, so this was January 3. They go to Texas, and they beat the Longhorns in the wildest game in the league this season, 116-103 in regulation.
Yeah, stunner.
Right? 116-103 in regulation. They win at Texas. Then 4 days later, they play at the Baylors. They go to overtime, and they beat the Bears 97-95. That's when Baylor was still trying to figure out exactly who they were, right? Because they had come to Morgantown when they were 0-4. At TCU, they got pistol whipped by 14, 82-68, but a lot of teams this year did. They lost at Iowa State This was back on the 24th of January, 80-76. They lose at KU by a dozen, 90-78. They lose at Texas Tech, 71-63. That was about 3 weeks ago, 11 February. They lose at Oklahoma, 79-65. And their last road game was at Oklahoma State, and they beat the Cowboys 73-68. And most recently, beat Oklahoma 85-69 at home earlier this week. So there it is. So West Virginia, mentally, right, the message is if you win, you're going to guarantee yourself that you're going to get into the NCAA tournament. Kansas State already knows it's in.
Mm-hmm.
And pretty much, I don't know, right? I don't think there's a whole lot of – they're going to play Thursday regardless. They're not going to fall down into Wednesday. They're going to be Thursday. They're not going to win the league. The league's already decided. So you just wonder, mentally. Wait, excuse me?
I mean, maybe you'd hope
I'm searching here. I'm just searching.
Yeah, you are searching.
Well, wait a second. The intangibles would favor West Virginia.
You would think, but there's also a body of evidence out there that shows you that a common mistake in the sports betting world, Tony, is to put your money behind these teams like West Virginia that feel like they're in must-win, need-to-win situations coming down the stretch.
Those are bad?
Because the flip side argument is there's a reason West Virginia, teams like it, are in this situation because they're not the elite of the elite, right? So they're an inconsistent team by nature. So be careful there. Kansas State's playing really well. They've won 4 in a row. They were picked to finish last in this league. They're obviously not going to do that. Jerome Tang should get – is he not Coach of the Year in the Big 12? Because he could get – I know. I'm saying he should be.
Oh, he is. Who else is it?
And he should get some national Coach of the Year votes.
Yeah.
For what they've done.
Absolutely. I remember when the season started, we said they lost 13 dudes. Yeah. They lost 13 dudes.
Picked to finish last, and they're having an unbelievable year.
No, let me see this dude. My man Ish. Ish Massoud was back. Desi Sills was back, and Marquise Noel.
Uh-huh.
Those are the only 3 guys that came back from last season's team because they had the coaching change.
Right.
So they replaced basically everyone except 3 dudes. Now, Noel's really, really good, and Massoud, when he's shooting the ball, he's a shooter. He can be problematic.
Okay, let's go through a couple things here. One on the Kansas State side, just a little niche stat for you. Feel free to use this tomorrow or Saturday in the game broadcast.
Okay.
We've talked so much about Marquise Noel, and rightfully so, right? Going to be a first-team all-conference guy. Keontae Johnson maybe as well. Both have been outstanding. But how about this? 62% of Johnson's baskets have come on assists from Noel. 62%. Massive number. So how important has Marquise been to Keontae Johnson having a great year? And vice versa, right? And vice versa. Those two are driving the bus here for K-State. That's one of the reasons. On the other side, I think we need to take a moment here, and we can do this at the end of the year too, but I thought it was important to do it now. We have to appreciate the year Eric Stevenson's putting up here.
Coach Stevenson?
Yes. This is an unbelievable season. And over the last few games, I think you've seen that with the scoring really taking a spike up and those 30-point outbursts and then the 20-point outbursts as of late. But how about this? This jumped to me. I was looking at a graph yesterday on College Basketball Analytics, and it had this. So Stevenson's second in the league in usage rate, okay? So quick, dirty definition of usage rate. It's defined as the percentage of teams' plays that are used by a player or that player is used when they're on the floor, okay? So he's second in the league. He's behind only Keontae George. We've talked a lot about George. Going to be a first-round pick.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. Stevenson has a better true shooting percentage.
Wow.
And true shooting percentage factors in three-pointers are worth more. What a good shot. So true shooting percentage and usage rate. So that means no other player in the league, the entire Big 12, has a better true shooting percentage while being used as much as Eric Stevenson. That's hard to do, man. And that's hard to do in a league that's loaded with pros. To have the best true shooting percentage, no one is better in that category.
Right.
When you straight. Now I'll go one more. Now this will be a real wow for you. There are 3 players ahead of the pack on the grid. So when you look at this grid, it puts on one axis the true shooting percentage and on the other the usage. Mm-hmm. And then every player in the Big 12 is plotted in there. And there's just a big clump of players in there, okay? There's 3 that are sitting out from each other, and it's obvious that 3 are ahead of the pack. And you go look at those 3, and you put your little cursor over there, Tony, and it'll tell you who the 3 are.
Mm-hmm.
Keontae George, right? Pretty good.
Yeah.
First team All-League.
First round
pick. A gentleman by the name of Jalen Wilson.
Player of the year.
And the 3rd, Eric Stevenson.
How about that, man?
I mean, that's a heck of a year. We know that. I mean, you've been watching every game. Fans listen to this, been watching every game. You know he's having a good year. He's having a monster year. That was jaw-dropping to me.
As he goes, the Mountaineers go.
No question.
And
no question.
A little bit of a dilution on the usage rate. As a player coach, he calls his name more, right? When you think, I mean, he's calling plays for him since he's out there coaching the team. Wouldn't you think that'd be the case?
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably. But he should be calling his own number. Having a great year.
One last K-State piece on Marquise Noel, the talented point guard. How about his numbers against West Virginia the first game? Did you bust him at all?
No.
Dude, talk about 62% of his assists go to Keontae Johnson.
Yeah.
His game against West Virginia, he goes for 23 points, 10 of 13 at the line. So he was just putting his head right to the rim.
Yep.
10 assists. 10 assists, I said. 3 turnovers. 7 steals.
Hello.
The young fella's 3 steals away from a triple-double. So huge, huge assignment for West Virginia to try to slow down an unbelievably talented player in Marquise Noel on Saturday. 3 guys before the game is brought to us by, text coming up here in just a second, 3 guys before the game is brought to us by the fine folks, our buddy Bob and the crew at Comax Business Systems. Not just, they're so far away from just being your local copier guy. They take care of all of your business equipment needs, your business data, your IT security, and your business phone. You want a partner, they'll do it, and you don't have to hire them as a full-time employee. They'll do it from outside the wall. Remote monitoring, and it takes a massive stress away from you. A lot of their very first clients since they opened 25 years ago are still their clients today. So what works for you will work for them. When it comes to phone systems, their digital phone systems, you can purchase, you can lease, you can rent. If it's time for you and your business from 1 line to 1,000 lines, check them out at ComaxWV.com. That's ComaxWV.com. All right. Y'all ready for this? Did it. Get it. Get it. Get it. I know that this is not the Spreads on Stats segment. Strong chance, though, that those CPAs are tapping their pencil right now because they like this song, too. For just a minute, those CPAs are saying, I'm just going to take a little breather here, even though I'm really, really busy because tax season's coming. I'm just going to relax here a second and get some textual healing. All right, let's do it. From you, the people, the fantabulous listeners and viewers of 3 Guys Before the Game. Checking in from Mobile, Alabama, it's Jason. With all the talk about Buc-ee's convenience stores lately on the show, I wanted to chime in and tell you guys, you're missing out if you have not tried their apple pie. Now, what they do, they take a piece of pie crust, fold in some pie filling, deep fry it, then dust it with cinnamon sugar. Easily my favorite thing they have for sale in that money pit. It's a masterpiece. As for the big win on the road at Iowa State, my favorite thing about the win was the way we finally came back in convincing fashion from being down 6 or 8 with about 6 to go and won a close game. Getting over that hump could be huge for this team. That apple thing sounds pretty doggone good, right? You take apples, you take dough, and you take fry. I'd crush it. That's the Trinity right there.
Even though we can't say crush it because nobody knows what we're talking about. Is that what we established last show?
I don't know what that is anymore. I'm using it. Brad Hoppy in St. Anthony. You do indeed go above and beyond to make things right. It was good to see you and to be able to tell several Iowa State fans, thanks for having us, as they filed out about the time Eric hit his free throw to make it 72-69. This is Aaron. This is Evan in Iowa. As for the words, not in a sermon, I only heard those from the Iowa State fans directly behind me bemoaning the existence of Joe Toussaint. Apparently, they remember him as fondly as he remembers them. It was a great night to be a Mountaineer. Thanks again, Evan in Iowa. So like I said, I think we've mended that relationship.
Yeah, good to hear from Evan. Glad he enjoyed the experience.
Well, here comes a heater. Hello, guys. Joe Mock in Texas.
Well, I wonder where he's been. You've been killing him, too, for 3 weeks.
Tony, it was fantastic getting to eat barbecue with you when you were in Austin. I definitely appreciated you picked up the tab. But here comes the heater. I have to take exception with the way you keep characterizing me as a minor league eater.
Yeah, good for him.
On 4 different occasions, you've brought this up, and I feel like my manhood is being questioned. For the record,
good job, Joe.
For the record, I ate 2 of the massive ribs, about half a pound of brisket, the sides that no one else was eating, and a full dessert. But you still act as though I wasn't crushing my allotment. But at least you didn't scar me with scalding hot steam. Also, another gutsy win by our women's team last night. I am thrilled with what Coach P is doing with the program. Oh, absolutely. Joe, not taking anything back that I said. I did not get the sense that you were doing your part.
That's a pretty good – he gave you stats.
Yeah, questionable.
He just gave you stats.
Yeah, questionable.
You do have a tendency when you're eating to not know what the hell else is going on around you. To help Joe a little bit there.
Yeah.
It's entirely possible you took a quick glance over. They might have been going at a slower pace than you, and you wrote it off and characterized the whole meal as a minor league eater. Joe might have a really good point here.
You might be right. Texter. Someone sent us this. Mountaineer football players were cheering on participants in the Special Olympics West Virginia Polar Plunge fundraiser at Cheat Lake. Look at those dudes out there. So they went out to Cheat Lake. That was on, that must have been last week on February 25. And they took, I don't see anyone with their shorts on. So they literally did not plunge.
Right. Moral support. That's
good.
Great,
guys. Thank you very much for doing that. Yeah, I wonder if any of them went in. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, did they have any of those in Iowa, the polar plunges?
Oh, yeah. I've not done one.
No. We used to have that, too.
I don't know that I could handle that.
You could, but it wouldn't
Cheat Lake, a little chilly this time. A little colder.
Well, yeah.
Now, you know I like being out on Cheat Lake.
Not in February.
Not in February.
Texter, after listening to the last episode and once again being reminded of the most absolute ridiculousness of the Big 12 and the time zone issue, I almost immediately ran across this article as I reviewed my news feed that evening. I present the attached news headline from the Associated Press without comment. So I guess now the Moon wants a time zone.
Yeah, it's just good luck, Moon.
Good luck.
Hope the Moon doesn't join the Big 12. You'll never get it. Moon better join the ACC or SEC.
Well, we've confirmed that the Pac-12 and the SEC know how to do time zones. They'd add that Moon. They'd end the Moon zone like this, like, hey, people in communications office, hey, we're adding the Moon zone. Not a problem, got it.
Yeah, Big 12 would have 16 baseball games start at the wrong time on the Moon because no one could get there on time. What? Eastern time zone? What's that?
I thought it was 3 p.m. No, man, 3 p.m. at Uranus. Texter. Gentlemen, Mason from Mason County, I've sent a picture of my newest miniature horse, just 4 days old. His barn name is Kercheval. Also, I had the opportunity to go to one of our competitors and pick up a vehicle and bring it to my establishment for repairs due to a lack of effort on their part. Hooked up the vehicle, said sorry about this, and thanks for having us. Also agree with Tony on the Slaps barbecue, and I'd also add the Milwaukee Deli for a great lunch. Let's go.
So that's a mini horse?
Mini horse. He named it Kercheval.
Awesome.
That's cute. We're not going to tell you that our producer, Taylor, came in and said, Tony, I don't have a picture of a horse, but you did send me a picture of a baby cow. Did say that, didn't he? He did say that, didn't he?
He did.
And I said, no, Taylor, that's a miniature horse. It's not a cow.
Cow, goat, sheep, something.
That comes from a kid from Fraser's Bottom, West Virginia.
Well, that's not his fault. As he claimed, he's from a heavy metro area there in Fraser's Bottom.
He's from the metropolitan area of Fraser's Bottom.
He was not aware of mini horse.
No.
Or a goat or a sheep.
Texter, you three guys need to do a paddle wheel boat cruise from Wheeling to Huntington down the Ohio River. Yeah. So we got this guy said he'll take 6 spots on that thing.
We already sold 6?
Well, we've received a lot of reach out from us with people with these stern wheelers.
That's been big.
Yeah,
Heavy response.
Marietta's making a strong push. We've already had conversation with people down in Charleston. They're efforting on getting us the right thing.
But Marietta, we got to get it over on the West Virginia side, the Parkersburg side there. We can't have the Kercheval loaded.
Not a big deal.
Well, that's a whole crossing state lines.
Here's the deal.
If you're in the water, does it count?
What do you mean by that?
Like, can we still have beer across water lines? Is it still part of the state? How does that work?
The issue is going to be, if we're taking over this boat, I'm going to be like Somalian pirates. When we take that boat over, we're going to control the whole thing. We're going to have the food. We're going to control the alcohol. Like, no one's telling us what we can or cannot do.
Right. Well, yeah, right.
And I might fly a pirate flag going down the Ohio Canal.
You do love some Somalian pirate videos.
Texter, this was an interesting one. I'm writing this limerick, and I hope it does suck. For Tony's ethics will find him quite stuck. If he merely makes pronouncements for show, or if he's a man of his word, we'll know when I have 2 tickets behind Hugs in Lubbock. So he wrote a horrifically bad poem so that I would do the same thing for him the next time we go to Lubbock that I did for Evan.
A for effort. I'm guessing that's not going to happen.
I don't even know if we'll play in Lubbock next year with this new schedule.
That's true.
By the way, next year's basketball schedule, folks, you're going to play 5 teams twice, 8 teams once. You're going to play everyone, but only 8 once, 5 twice. You know you're going to play Cincinnati twice.
Good.
Probably going to play UCF twice, you would think. So I don't know.
Why do you say play? Why would you play UCF twice?
Close. Just guessing.
Same time zone.
Same time.
Which would be logical, except the Big 12 doesn't know they're both in the Eastern time zone, so they don't have any idea. So the schedule makers probably don't know that, unless the software somewhere can decide that.
Yeah. Hey, 3 guys. Tyler from Mineral County. I just thought I'd show you my right-handed GMC Denali pencil sharpener. I love the show. Can't wait till 800. Very nice.
Very solid right-handed.
Yeah, it's really good. Right, and got a nice wood block there. Does that wood block? Does he think he's got that wood block mounted to that piece of plywood?
It appears.
I hope so, because there's nothing worse than when you're doing one of those pencil things and that thing moves on you.
Yeah,
You
looks
just
like he's
scrape
got
up
that
your hand.
secured extremely well.
Texter, Charlie from Midlothian, by the way of the West Side in Charleston. I'm just now watching episode 446 on YouTube's, and Hoppy saw the glint in your eye about the possibility of 3 guys on a stern wheeler. Since Hoppy was headed to Charleston, here's a suggestion. You talk with the mayor and have all you do a podcast on a stern wheeler during the regatta, assuming they have it again next summer. I'd definitely make a trip home to participate. Signed, Buddy Holly.
Folks.
He's the they are having this. They just announced the musical entertainment yesterday.
And I don't know if that was related to us bringing up that on the podcast, but it did happen. It did happen immediately. I think they capitalized on the trending nature of stern wheel and hopped on it probably. Great move by Mayor Amy.
You think the Mayor Amy down there is listening to the 3 guys?
Yeah, I think. She's a friend of the show.
She probably made a call. Hey, they're talking about the stern wheel. Put the release out on the music.
I think that was very well timed. Outstanding work by Amy.
Texter, regarding the 800th episode, we understand you're not going to do the episode, so let us do it. Bid out the opportunity to host the 800th 3 Guys episode to your listeners. The proceeds will go to a local charity. Kind of treat it like a Bob Huggins fantasy camp. You bring the winners in for a few days of training, and then, Musburger voice, let them go live. If they stink, and they probably will, it's a win-win for you. Signed by the Greenbrier Ghost. Texter, Tony, do Big 12 basketball officials work as crews or assigned as individuals for each game? By the way, I live in Fredericksburg, Virginia, and I own land in Fayette County near Meadow River. Not a surprise. No crews. They could be matched differently every single night. No rhyme, nor reason. Texter, you never fail to make me laugh so hard that there are tears. The sequence of the football out-of-bounds play followed by spring and the line of the show makes the bug happy. Signed by Kevin and Raleigh. Yeah. Well, I'm glad we make you laugh. I really do. Really do. That's the whole deep to entertain you is what we're here for. Texter, hey, three guys. I'm a long time, second time. In pod text alert. So he's texting us while he's listening to the last show.
Excellent.
While listening to episode 446 of 801, I heard Hoppy nonchalantly utter the most fitting tagline for Kercheval imaginable. The beer that takes you home. I can't think of anything more fitting for the Three Guys brand. Seriously, as a transplanted Mountaineer, there's nothing that takes me home on a more consistent basis than listening to your stupid podcast. Sincerely, thank you for what you guys do. That's good. Thank you, I think. Thanks, Anthony from Fayette County. I currently reside in central Kentucky.
That was a good one, Anthony.
Yeah. Texter. This is Delbert from the Adirondacks via Clendenin. With the conference landscape continuing to shift toward Power 2 model, SEC Big Ten, in your opinion, how should the Big 12 continue to strengthen itself? I'm not a fan of adding the mid-majors like San Diego State SMU, with all due respect. If and when the opportunity presents, the Big 12 needs to capitalize on the four corner schools, some leftover ACC teams. So he's blowing up the ACC, just taking care of blow them up. Big Ten will eventually add, at minimum, two more Pac-12, two ACC. The SEC could go after some ACC, possibly Okie Light. Big 12 needs to stay aggressive if it hopes to survive the next 10-year. Thoughts? Yeah, I do think they're going to be aggressive. I think if in a perfect world, the commissioner would love to go get those four corner schools out of the Pac-12, but it's got to make sense for the presidents in the Big 12. If he can present to them and show them why that makes sense and why that works, money. If he can state that case, then I think you got a chance at that happening. But if it's just hey, let's just get another time zone, but it's not really going to do anything to our bottom line, or does it protect you more if you add four more so that it really puts the kibosh on the leagues that are behind you right now? It's possible.
I just assume the ACC have some turmoil and you go get some of them.
Yeah.
Get back to this regional nature. Florida State's down there making noise. You saw that story. They want an unequal share.
Clemson did too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just assume that they go ahead and struggle down there, and you just load up on some old rivals, some regional rivals. And all due respect to Utah, they can go out there and hang out west.
Delbert's text isn't over. Here comes a heater. Also, regarding Tuesday's pod, Hoppy's comments, the Allegheny Mountains and Adirondacks are oranges and apples. Being a native West Virginia, you'll never find a more passionate supporter of the Mountain State tourism than I am. However, the Adirondacks are equally incredible. I would encourage anyone to come and check them out. P.S. Thanks, Tony and Brad, for your efforting last July on behalf of Herbert Hoover and their new facilities. As a proud Elk River native and Hoover alum, I'm excited for the community and students. So they got to be there. Well, that's going to open up at the latest in the fall.
Yeah,
that brand new school
should be about ready to go.
Oh boy, here comes another.
Here you go.
Easy peasy.
Here you go.
This thing's just become a mess. Next text. As an insurance agent, our membership has been insulted by Tony beyond repair. However, we have gained some solace in seeing accountants, poets, the continent of Australia, San Marzano tomato knockoffs, and mythical creatures also being unfairly exploited. It's ironic that all of your advertisers, aside from Comax, are in the transportation industry. They know that when Tony is run out of West Virginia, he'll need an RV, a pontoon, a fly rod Slim Jim from Gomart, and plenty of fuel to get out of town.
That was a pretty comprehensive list of groups you've gone after.
You guys attack the messenger. That's all I'm saying. Speaking of Gomart, if you have to go for good times, you go for Gomart. Fly rod Slim Jim, big moon pie, 22-liter bottle of Mountain Dew.
4 packs of Reese peanut butter cups. Probably the shapes. Better ratio. There's better peanut butter ratio on those.
Mm-hmm. Mandarin orange.
Chips.
Banana.
Propel.
Oh, that's chips.
Milky Way.
Cadbury Crunch. Jim from Charleston. Hoping for a win Saturday so we don't have to trust the selection committee to put us in a 6-12.
Funyuns.
Do you know what is the lowest Ken Palm or net ranking to be left out of the field? Here's hoping we don't set the record.
No, but as I've said, that's my fear for West Virginia, that we're going to look up and see all the green. But you know what we'll do real quick on the fly?
Yeah. Boy, you're going at it there. Fancy little computer. So you got a keyboard and touch on that, huh?
Both.
Yeah. Pretty nice. You need some time? I got another text.
Go ahead.
Gentlemen, I'd like to share a West Virginia story. I'm out with my wife and daughter, Saratoga Springs, New York. Having a wonderful day, finished up lunch, set my sights on heading back to the house. I hear from the back seat, can we go to TJ Maxx? Can't realize how uncomfortable those words made me feel. Shopping with my daughter and wife can be elongated. 30 minutes across the store, I think I see my wife. Couldn't make her out due to the amount of clothes and hangers that were stacked on the cart. Then from behind, I heard it. Daddy, can I get this? Wondering if I should turn around. I can only imagine. Slight relief came when she followed up. It's on clearance. It's only $1.50. I think you would like it. It looks like the last one. As I turned around, I saw what she had on, and I said with a big smile, you couldn't be more right. Put it up there, Taylor. Honestly, I think TJ Maxx lost out a few dollars on this one, but no, Taylor, that's not it. What? The picture of the Mountaineer toboggan hat.
Live ball turnover.
Jeez.
Live ball turnover.
How did we go? I'm reading a story about a hat. He puts up Hoppy with a birthday hat on.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You got to protect the ball.
And Kirchhoff last show was lauding how hot he's been, how good Taylor.
That's why you don't do that.
You have the info?
Do I?
Yeah, on the.
Yeah. You done with this text?
Yeah, go ahead.
I think, as far as I can tell, somebody can fact check this here. Oklahoma did not make the tournament last year. They did not.
No, I don't think so.
They did not.
No.
So if that's in fact the case, Oklahoma at 30 in the Ken Palm was the highest to be left out, followed closely by A&M, which you remember was left out because they went on that great run in the SEC tournament.
Mm-hmm.
Buzz lost his mind after they didn't get in.
Mm-hmm.
They were 33.
Yeah.
So it's right in that range.
Here, win the game. Don't play. Texter, West Virginia connection story. My family and I just bought a house in Newberg, Oregon. 2 days ago, I'm on the front porch putting up my flying WV flag. A couple of neighbors were outside working in their yards. One came over and asked why I was hanging a Wonder Woman flag.
Don't appreciate that.
Another neighbor overheard the comment and said, that's a West Virginia flag. Turns out his wife was raised in Buchanan.
Mm-hmm.
Signed by Brandon in Oregon. P.S. My family has land in a fishing camp in Hardy County.
Of course.
Why wouldn't you?
The only thing that would have made that better, I was hoping Rob Mullins was his neighbor. Oregon AD, of course, from Morgantown.
Yeah. Texter, just now listening to episode 446, hearing Hoppy acclaim the joys of eating coconut cream pie on his birthday caused me to pause and think about my 97-year-old dad, a World War II veteran. He loves his coconut cream pie, which my mother would always make him on his birthday. I love the show. Let's go Mountaineers. That's awesome. I've never really delved much into that. I think I can honestly say I've never even tried coconut cream pie.
I don't think I have either. Now, banana cream,
oh yeah,
I'd go after that.
Vanilla wafers. Gentlemen, Logan from beautiful Greenbrier County. Happy March to you guys. I'm going to be at the game this weekend with my buddy and his wife from Princeton. One thing I've been wanting to tell you guys is I work in an AutoZone, and I discovered this podcast from one of the managers from Summersville, and the first episode I listened to was the Rich Rod episode. I really appreciate all the work you guys do, signed by Logan. Thank you very much. Texter, this guy wanted to celebrate Hoppy's birthday. You may have seen this slide if you're watching in earlier in the program, but he put a hat on Hoppy's head there and said happy birthday. Thank you very much. Texter, gentlemen, I wanted Tony to know that it was noticed that he glossed over his blatant child labor and harassment laws with foul shooting stats. This kid one day will be like, oh yeah, Hall of Famer Tony Caridi, yeah, I know him all right, as he slowly rubs his scarred leg. Talked about that. That burned Christian.
Yeah, totally out of line.
All in fun, signed by Chris and Marietta, a town famous for sternwheelers. Dear three guys, My mother encouraged me to take a listen to your podcast, and since then it has quickly moved to the top of my rotation. Thanks for putting out such an enjoyable program and giving all of us who have moved out of state a nice taste of home. Thank you for listening. We appreciate it.
We haven't seen that chain work very often, I wouldn't think. Mother to son.
No? Well, there's a few. You remember the young lady up in
Or
Weirton?
mother to daughter, I guess it could be right.
The young lady up in Weirton that sent us, Johnny Oles. Remember Johnny Oleszak's daughter?
Yeah.
He sent us stuff.
Yeah.
Remember?
Appreciate that.
Might be due for some new stuff. Texter will be in Wheeling this weekend. Texter, during Monday night's tremendous win over Iowa State, the Mountaineers called timeout 34.5 seconds to go. ESPN then zooms in on the WVU bench, and viewers were treated to nearly 10 seconds of player Coach Stevenson and Coach Huggins on screen, checking where the ball comes in, suggesting a play, etc. After the sequence, my wife, a newly converted WVU Hoops fan who took some early losses pretty hard, chuckled and asked how anyone could not find this team endearing. At least from the outside looking in, they seem like a bunch of likable guys, and they're pretty team first. Hoping that, there, look at this picture. Look up the screen. Look at player Coach Stevenson there. Now, yeah, there he is. Just walking through some scenarios for Hugs. Hugs, what do you think here? What do you think, Eric? E, what do you think? Well, Hugs, I'm thinking if we inbound it from right there, we can get a spot inbound there, and we can run a back screen and get this ball into the backcourt. That's what I would say. Put that first one up again when he's got his hand on him. That's a classic. I mean, that is a beauty. I mean, people thought we were kidding about this player coach thing. First player coach. School history. Meanwhile, Kedron and Emmett. It's been fun watching the team lately. Kedron and Emmett have some really strong performances, big-time games at the end of their time in Morgantown. Thanks, Charlie in Richmond. Thank you very much. Texter. Hey, three guys, two quick stories about the global saturation of the song Country Roads. My wife and I were married in 1999, honeymooned in Aruba. While hanging out at the restaurant bar one evening, the house band, consisting of a vocalist, steel drummer, and keyboardist, broke into a Caribbean version of Country Roads. I grabbed my bride, spun her around the dance floor a few times. It was even sweeter because other couples there were Pitt grads. Fast forward this past December, the wife and I took our three kids, one of whom is a current WVU student, one who will be a preferred walk-on with the football team this fall, that polar bear pipeline, to London. Went to London for a belated high school graduation trip for my daughter, class of 2020. While exiting the Tube, that's their train subway, near Westminster Abbey, we passed a gentleman that was playing a guitar for tips. The weather was cool. I'm wearing my WVU toboggan. As we passed this gentleman, he changed mid-song to Country Roads.
That's strong.
It goes to show that you can cross the ocean.
Saw the logo, right? Went right into it.
Goes right into it and still find a little piece of home. Let's go Mountaineers. Brandon from Barrackville. P.S. I'm a proud Independence High alum. Love hearing you guys talk about the Patriots and my good buddy Randy Hunt. Great run the past few years for the Patriots. So the question I would have for you, Brandon, is I hope you tip that dude down there playing country. I mean, that's a $10 tip minimum.
That's well done. To call the audible and switch it right there.
That's $10. If you didn't give him more than 10 or 10 at minimum, you need to go back.
Now, Chris, of course, Brandon, one of the all-time great WVU ambassadors.
Well, sure. Texter, hey, three guys, Matt in Louisville. In light of you all having questions about the Country Roads Bar and Grill, it's not a bar or an establishment. It's my uncle's garage in Louisville. We got tired of going to places in town to watch the game, so we took his garage, made it into a sports bar. Look at this thing.
That's the one we showed last week.
Yeah, we've had some great, this is a new picture, more light.
Yeah.
We've had some great times in this place. We just love to throw game watches and love to cook. I appreciate the compliments about how it looks like a bar. I worked my tail off doing all this. I attached a day picture and video of the celebration after the Will Greer conversion in Texas. Don't know if you can play it because of the music, but hope you all enjoy it.
All right, that makes some more sense. So he has the garage door open there so we can see.
What? He's got a high ceiling in that sucker.
He does.
That looks
does
like
not look like a garage ceiling.
Well, that's probably one of them ones that you get with Burdette Camping. You bring in your trailer in there, and it can fit the whole thing in there.
Yeah, that's nice.
Right? You back a Burdette trailer into that thing, a fifth wheel. It's got the size, got the space, and, of course, the warranty lasts forever, even if you're in Louisville.
Power awning, too.
20
You don't need it when you're inside, of course, but
No. Texter, following this disappointing performance on Saturday, here's my question. Would you go rather to the big dance or losing the first? This is one of those, you want to go to the NIT or losing the first round of the NCAA? I think we've established that, right? We want to go to the NCAA.
Well, you established that. I don't know that I agree with that.
Oh, what do you want to do?
I told you, we've had great experiences in the NIT.
I understand that. Here's my deal. I'll take whatever's available.
Because the caveat there is go to the NIT and win at least 3.
Well, Ren Baker is the chairman of the NIT selection committee. So as the chairman of the selection committee, I would think if it happened that way, which I don't think it's going to, I think West Virginia is going to win Saturday. I think you're going to go to the NCAA tournament.
Yeah.
But if Ren is in charge of the selection committee, now don't you think that we would be able to play every game at home, pick the team we want to play, and assign the officials?
Yeah, because when you're the head of the committee, no one else has a say. You just go in there and say what you're going to do. And especially when it's your school, everybody just lets you do it because you're the head of it.
And you probably get officials from the North Central High School Board here,
Yeah.
SSAC approved, right?
Just win and be.
Think we get Joe Lambiot? Maybe
Probably.
he could ref the game.
Yeah,
He's a
probably.
Big 12 observer. Texter, longtime texter, first-time listener, not sure if anyone caught Emmett doing a double hand wave. Thanks for having us. There he is.
That's a great one.
I included the picture.
That's beyond a double. That's like he's getting ready to take a bow, like at the end of the stage performance.
Yes, it is. He just finished a Broadway play.
Right. That's a good one, Emmett.
There's Jazz Kuntz off to his left.
You know, quite frankly, though, as
left.
when you're done and not returning to a place, especially end of the season, that's exactly how you do it.
That's exactly how you do it. You know what you almost – the only thing he's not doing there, remember when Sugar Ray Leonard was in the –
Look at that's a great one.
Remember when Sugar Ray Leonard was in the Olympics and they used to do that thing when they would look to each of the 4 sides and give you with the glove?
Yeah.
That's the only thing he didn't do.
That's a good one, Emmett.
And he had reason to wave. Like a lot of times a guy that waves their hands like they didn't even get in the game. But Emmett made free throws, blocked shots, and dunked it.
Yep.
Like he's the guy that should be going like,
Then
sup?
Then gave you a double thanks for having us. I'm about to take a bow. That was awesome.
That was good.
Save that picture, because if we get Emmett back in here this summer, which we should, frequent guest on 3 Guys.
Friend of this, yeah.
Get him back. That was a great one.
Texter, this question is for the Sultan of San Marzano. On basketball road games this season, you've been flying solo, no Jay Jacobs. Is it more difficult for you to work the game, or is it easier without a second voice? I'm just curious. Thinking about all the things you have to plan, remember, cover, coordinate by yourself. Tony, pull back the curtain for us. How do you do it all? Now this is the kind of question that if my wife hears this, she'd give me, are you freaking kidding me? Oh, Tony, how do you do it, Tony? Tony, how do you do it, Tony?
Well, frankly, some of the CPAs should be on you right now for this question.
It's been, I used to do games by myself when I was still doing high school games. I would take the old broadcast unit out there, mid-1980s, get in my 79 Robin Blue Ford Granada, drive around the state following the world champion Mohegans. Went down to South Charleston, down to the Dolly Parton Dome there, and did the Snowball Classic. Did those by myself. So I've done them by myself, and it's okay. But as the season has gone on, I do think there's value to having another person involved because there's just other things that happen in the flow of a game. You just need an additional set of eyes helps. Absolutely. Yeah. Different. Yeah, different. I was signed by Lindbergh from Lucado Road. Longtime listener. P.S. A buddy whom I'll call Willie G invited me out to Short Story, that's the brewery, to taste the Kirchhoff. But alas, they sold out of the precious Pilsner in less than 12 hours. We were denied a taste. Maybe someday. It's hard, man. Get in line. So many
Goes
people.
fast.
Texter, 2 Guys in Halftime Hoppy. I think I found a way to get to episode 800 without y'all being 80. Since the podcast lasts roughly a little more than an hour, and all due respect, Hobnobbing Hoppy is now only appearing for 30 minutes at a time. Why not split the cast in half, making 2 shows about 30 to 45 minutes apiece? You can still release them on the same day, just counting each of them as a separate show, basically scamming the system. I'm not sure how much quicker you can get to 800 that way, but I'm sure Stats could analyze it, or even Tyler John F. Kennedy could figure it out while he's not putting pictures up because, quote, he didn't get them. Just an idea. I was efforting. I tell you what, buddy. Don't know who you are, but anytime you can just stick one into Taylor, that's a good text right there.
The Tyler John F. Kennedy gave you. That was a good one.
He goes on, I was going to mention something about officiating, but after Scopes threw a brushback pitch to a texter on the last show, I'm just going to keep it to myself.
This is a good one.
Texter, same guy. P.S. Here's your trivia tidbit for the day. Rennick, located between Lewisburg and Marlington, is home to Almost Heaven Hot Tubs, which used to supply the hot tubs as the prizes on the Price is Right Bob Barker edition. Holy hell. Now, why would that happen?
This is a strong email here.
This guy coming. P.S.S. When Hoppy appears on the show now, is it considered a cameo appearance? Maybe you should just introduce him as a special guest. Keep up the good work. P1 Tanner from Talcott.
Well done, Tanner.
Very nicely. He's good.
How do you think they got? What's the connection there?
Hey,
Hot tubs in Rennick to the Price is Right.
Tanner, find out why they were sending those to the Price is Right. There's always a West Virginia connection, and here's the Price is Right West Virginia connection. Oh, I can see his face. Nose guard played for us. Somerville, New Jersey. Down lineman. He got on the Price is Right. See his face. Jimmy. He got on Price is Right.
He win?
I don't remember. Skip Fuller. Defensive lineman. He was on the Price is Right. And doesn't the announcer, Johnny Olson, come on down? I think he had a West Virginia connection, too, if I'm not mistaken.
Is that right?
Yeah, I think so. Texter. P1 listener, efforting P1 texter. Scope spreads and Mr. Legislative Session. I'm curious to know, have any of you ever considered what life would be like if we would have stayed in the Big East? Would we be good? Get the same recruits? I'm not saying we should have done this, but Tony, you have been around it all. What's your take? Appreciate all you guys do, and yes, as a 9-to-5 insurance agent, life is pretty good. Signed by Mike in Fairmont. Well, there's another one. You know what I like about him? He manned up right there and he sits with his feet on his desk from 9 to 5 every day. Probably reads the paper from about like 12:30 to 2. Calls it a day about 4:45 and tells Marge when he walks out of the office, see you tomorrow. No, the worst thing that could have ever happened to West Virginia University athletics would have been to be left out of the Power Five. We would be in horrific shape right now. So no, absolutely not. Texter, gentlemen, I wanted to know if you had any theories as to why we have struggled so many times defensively at the start of a second half. To me, it feels like an episode of The Twilight Zone because we aren't a terrible defensive team, but our opponents can't seem to miss sometimes. I do not have the analytics that Spreads has, but check this out, dude. After several hours and 2 beers, here are the unofficial stats. Since Big 12 play started, we've given up 60% shooting or better in the first 10 minutes of the second half in 10 of the 18 games.
Oh, good. This is good research here. That takes some work to get that good. Well done here.
So he's including the Auburn game in that.
Okay.
In 3 of those games, our opponents shot over 70%, and against TCU, we gave up over 80%. For the first 15 minutes of the second half, our opponents shoot over 60% in 6 of the 18 games. Iowa State and Oklahoma both shot over 70%, and the TCU's shot almost 90% in a defensive debacle. Amazingly, we won 2 of the 3 games against the teams that have hit over 70% in the first 15 minutes of the second half. And the game we gave up almost 90% to TCU was not the road game, but instead was the home game that we won. Signed by Sean in Florida.
Well, that was excellent.
That was really good, Sean. I tell you what, if you would have had 3 beers, you really would have been able to figure the thing out, right?
That's pretty wild. I mean, assuming the 2 beers didn't impair his calculations there, that's well
No,
done.
that's really good stuff. No,
Yeah,
that's really, really
excellent.
good. I hear you, dude. Texter, I've never put too much thought into the origins of the phrase crushed it when referring to food. While at work the other day, I was stopped in a local market to see what the deli was offering for lunch. Passing a rack of 8-piece fresh fried chicken boxes, the smell was too irresistible, and I did not make it to the counter. Grabbed a Code Red, and back to the truck I went. I did offer some to my coworkers who declined, with one of them adding, "That smells awesome. You should smash that."
Give it a smash.
Prompting me to think about my favorite 3 guys, and I did smash it down to the bones. Also, I know it's a bit early, but are there any indications of where the incoming class for football ranks in the Big 12, or is that yet to be determined? Have a blessed day. Thank you. Yeah, I'm totally with you. So one thing on eating chicken, so many people leave meat on the bone. Drives me crazy. Like, you ever have chicken wings with people, and they say, like, "I'm done," and you look at them, and there's about 37% of the meat still on the bone. Being from Buffalo, long-time chicken wing eater.
When you do this,
You got to go in, you roll. It's a 3/4 roll. You secure that bone just on the front of the teeth. You pull that back down there. There should just be bone left.
Here's the thing. They're paying for their own chicken wings. They can eat the chicken wings however they want to eat the chicken wings. If they want to leave a little bit on it, leave a little bit on it.
Chicken gave its life for that. Might as
You're
well use it all.
You're not going to chicken wing shame. So you came on here and said you weren't going to shame anymore, food shame. You've done it like 9 times.
That was a bad resolution. That didn't last
terrible
long.
resolution. Eat them however you want to eat them. Why did you give it a quiet? Why did that only more than quiet?
I just listened to you say, "Eat them however you want to eat them." I just thought they just needed to settle. Just needed to settle.
It's perfect use of the sound effect. I just wonder why I didn't have the same volume as the other ones.
3 guys. Nick from Morgantown here. I'm a season ticket holder for football and basketball. I love going to our games, but it can definitely be an emotional roller coaster at times. Last year, my doctor told me that I've got a minor heart condition. Don't worry, it's not life-threatening, but it did make me wonder if the Mountaineers are to blame for the old ticker. On another note, picture this. Saturday, 10 seconds left in the game. Mountaineers are up 75-74. K-State has the ball. Keontae Johnson drives the lane, goes up for the game-winning shot. Rejected by James Okonkwo. The crowd goes wild. The scoreboard shows a video of James doing the famous Mutombo finger wag while the screen flashes Okonk no. Mountaineers take the dub, solidify a spot in the NCAA tournament. Cue Country Roads. Kurt Chevelle and Flyrod Slim Jims never tasted so good. That's some good vision.
Take that, wouldn't you?
No, I don't want I want to be up in the final 7 seconds of the game. I want to be up 79-61. And I want to see this. I want to and here comes West Virginia. They got the rebound, and they're going to dribble out the clock. And it's down to 14, and into the front court comes Kedrian Johnson, and we're at 6, and now 2, and Hugs shaking hands with Jerome Tang, and it's over. That's what I want. That's all I'm asking. I don't need drama. I had drama Monday. I'm good with drama. Got my drama allotment for the week. I don't need any drama.
Real quick, before you hit the music, talking about NCAA tournament.
Yeah.
So here's one. If you're listening to this on Thursday as we record, big game tonight that could impact West Virginia's postseason hopes. Wisconsin and Purdue.
Excuse me?
Wisconsin and Purdue. So you obviously want Purdue to win as a West Virginia fan.
Right.
Give Wisconsin another loss. Because if you go to our friends at Bracket Matrix, the 11 seed line, Wisconsin, they're barely hanging on. They're an 11.09 seed according to all these hundreds of brackets they do. West Virginia, a little bit of an advantage there. Still in the 11 seed group at a 10.56.
All right.
But what's interesting, with Wisconsin still hanging in there in a Big Ten that's not nearly as good and deep as the Big 12, 67th in the Ken Palm rankings, Wisconsin.
Mm-hmm.
West Virginia's what?
20-something?
19.
How are they 19?
So you wonder why all this talk about West Virginia be so solidly in. Wisconsin's still getting love. 16 overall wins, barely hanging on to that 11 seed, 67 in the Ken Palm, but they have Purdue tonight. That would obviously be a huge win for the Badgers if they get it over a number 6 Purdue in the Ken Palm.
This is the last time this is going to happen, that the league is going to be as highly rated as it is. You're not going to have this luxury next year. It's going to get diluted.
True. Because more teams are going to come in, so there's going to be some bad teams.
UCF, with all due respect. BYU, with all due respect. And Cincinnati, with all due respect. Because you're adding, you're not going to have that. Your value now is the fact that you're 10. That's your value. So it's not going to be like it was. Now, Houston obviously will help, but it's not going to be like this next year. So this is the end of the era.
Which is why it would be nice to be able to take advantage of these great computer numbers and just kind of slide right in there.
Yes. Yes.
And then go in and win 2 for everybody that's squawking that you got in because you're below 500. Go win 2, go to the Sweet 16, tell the NCAA committee thanks for having us.
Mm-hmm. You would do a big thanks for having us.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I think you probably use the thanks for having us if you get into the tournament and you win your first game. That's when you give them a big, hey, thanks. Anyone have any questions?
Well, that'd be
here?
good, but remember, as you well know, you win the first 2 at the same location, then you'll be headed home before you go to the next location. That will be an appropriate Emmett type of bow. Thanks for having us situation.
Yeah,
as you exit that Des Moines Regional or whatever it would be.
Well, yeah,
Sacramento.
There he is again. Emmett giving you thanks.
That's an awesome. I'm giddy with that. I might make that my phone screensaver.
Yeah, that would be good.
That's the only thing that would make that better would be what? There's one little adjustment.
His heel dragging down in the middle of the floor?
Man, I don't want to condone vandalism, but if he was in the middle of the floor rather than the Big 12
Well, with Photoshop, we can move him.
Just move over just
I'll ask those guys over at the WVU Creative guys if they may have that picture too. Those guys, they get a lot of shots. I might, hey, you have that picture of Emmett? Then we'll move it. We'll put him in the middle of the floor.
Right in the middle.
Yeah, we can.
That was great. Well done, Emmett.
Hey, don't forget, our good friends at Burdett Camping have an unbelievable value for you on the Forest River Rockwood Ultralight fifth wheel, currently $10,000 off. If you've been thinking fifth wheel, Burdett Camping, with a warranty that lasts forever on every vehicle, RV, that you buy. Check it out. 3 guys brought to us by Lou Wendell Marine Sales in St. Albans. They sell family fun. LouWendellMarineSales.com, located in St. Albans. By Comax Business Systems, keeping West Virginia's business data safe, secure, and efficient for 25 years. Comax Business Systems. And by Gomart, sign up for rewards cards, save on their gas, save on your favorite snacks. Go to gomart.com for the details. It's really super easy to do. Go for good times. Go for Gomart. What's the over-under this weekend on you being up and wheeling at the MEC tournament for 3 guys yells?
Oh, that's a good one. Over the course of the 3 days?
Yeah.
3.5.
Oh, over.
Line just moved quickly.
Absolutely.
6.5?
Over 3.5. Yeah, I mean,
6.5?
Yeah, you're in this 6 plus. Yeah, that's a good number. 6.5, probably lay it down there. All right, we're out. For our producer, John F. Kennedy, Taylor, Tyler, I didn't get the picture, Kennedy, for the Senator. We're back on Monday. We'll know who West Virginia will be efforting against in the tournament on Wednesday. Talk to you then. Have a great weekend. 3 guys before the game, episode 447, over and out.